When your gut tells you something's wrong, it's usually right. I used to think my wife was just visiting her parents a few times a week. Turns out she was visiting someone else. And when I found out who, I made sure their little secret burned both their lives to the ground. If you've ever had someone betray your trust, that gut-wrenching, world-falling-apart kind of betrayal, this story's for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in, because this revenge, it's cold, calculated, and oh so satisfying. It was the early 2000s, AOL dial-up, clunky flip phones, and all that. My wife and I had been married for about 7 years. We had 2 kids, ages 4 and 6. Our house was always loud, crayons on the walls, toys in every room, and that warm chaos you only get with little kids. I thought life was good. Not perfect, but good. She worked part-time, I worked full-time, and we made it work. But then, little things started to feel off. She said she'd been spending more time at her parents' place. They lived about an hour and a half away. Just helping them out, she'd say. But she was going there 2, sometimes 3 times a week.
That didn't make sense. Her parents were healthy, retired, and definitely not the type to need babysitting. And then my kids, innocent as they were, started saying things like, "Mommy saw her friend when we stayed at Grandma's," or "Mommy went out for lunch with a man while we played." They didn't know what they were saying, but I did. Something deep in my stomach turned cold. You know that pit, that instinct that whispers, "You're being lied to." So I did something I never thought I'd do in my marriage. I started tracking her car mileage. Nothing fancy, just wrote down the odometer readings before she left and when she got back. Sure enough, she was driving nearly 400 miles more per week than her story accounted for. Every number, every lie, it all started to line up in my head like puzzle pieces snapping into place. My wife wasn't visiting her parents, she was visiting someone else. Then one day, fate handed me the truth on a sticky note. I sat down at our old desktop computer, the one with that noisy grinding fan, and there it was, a neon yellow sticky note stuck beside the keyboard, her AOL password. Now, I'm not proud of what I did next, but I'd already been lied to, so I logged in, and there it was, email after email between my wife and her college best friend. They were laughing, joking, talking about how she'd been hooking up with her old high school boyfriend. My wife bragged about sneaking around, about how Bob's wife had really let herself go after having kids. I could feel my pulse in my ears, that sick, hollow feeling of realizing the person you share a bed with is a stranger. I printed every email, every word. I wasn't going to confront her yet. I wanted the truth, all of it. A close friend of mine was a cop. When I told him, I hired a lawyer, quietly, methodically. My parents' marriage had imploded from cheating. I'd watched it tear my family apart as a kid. I wasn't going to let my kids go through that chaos. Ron had done his part perfectly. But I wasn't done with him yet. I told him, find out everything you can about Bob. Man, did Ron deliver. Bob was married with 3 kids. He worked as a VP of sales at his father-in-law's company. His wife's parents owned the business and the house they lived in. That little detail was gold. Once everything was in place, I made my move. I had my lawyer prepare the divorce papers, but that wasn't enough for me. I wanted this entire affair exposed for what it was, not out of pettiness, but because Bob's wife deserved to know. So I asked Ron for a favor, one last job. We made it happen simultaneously. At 10:30 a.m. on a random Tuesday, while my wife was at work, she was served with divorce papers, right there in front of her coworkers. At that exact same moment, Ron knocked on the door of Bob's house and handed his wife a folder full of photos, dates, and proof. I can only imagine the silence that followed, the sound of her world collapsing. My wife came home that night looking pale, trembling, furious, desperate to talk. I didn't yell. I didn't even look at her. I just said,
You don't need to explain. You've already said everything in those emails. She started crying, begging me to understand, saying it was just a mistake, that she still loved me, that it didn't mean anything. But it did. It meant our marriage was over. Meanwhile, Bob's life, that was obliterated. According to public court records, which, yes, I looked up later, his wife cleaned him out. She emptied their joint account, took the kids, and went straight to her parents. When her father, Bob's boss, found out, he fired him on the spot. And since her parents owned their home, Bob was also evicted. In the span of 48 hours, this man lost his job, his house, his family, and every ounce of credibility he had. But it didn't end there. Apparently, he tried to go back to the house to talk things out, but his ex-wife's brother stepped in. One broken nose later, police reports were filed and restraining orders followed. Bob even did some time in county jail for violating one of them. I looked him up a few years later out of curiosity. No social media, no job listings, nothing. He vanished. My divorce went about as cleanly as a divorce could. I had the evidence, the support, and most importantly, a clear conscience. My wife and I agreed to shared custody, and I focused everything I had on my kids. They deserved stability, something I never had as a child. And as the years went by, I realized something. I didn't hate her anymore. I didn't even think about her unless it was about the kids. She's just the mother of my children. Nothing more, nothing less. No fire, no rage, no bitterness. I didn't need to destroy anyone. They destroyed themselves. I just opened the door and let karma walk through. Bob lost everything he'd taken for granted. My wife lost her marriage, her reputation, and her comfort zone. And I walked away with my dignity intact, and my kids still proud to call me Dad. People think revenge means rage, but sometimes the best revenge is just the truth. When you stop letting a liar control your peace, you've already won, because nothing you do to them will ever hurt more than what they did to themselves. If this story hit you right in the gut, give it a like. Tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen someone pull off? And don't forget to subscribe, because I've got more stories like this. Real,